descendant of those who fought tirelessly for the freedom we hold dear. I urge us to reflect on the values upon which our great nation was built as we consider the impeachment of the Deputy President. I want to take you back to the times before independence. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga is one of the people who fought for independence. And the colonialists actually offered him to be to become the president of Kenya. He declined and left that for Jomo Kenyatta to become the president. And in 1964, Jaramogi became the first vice president of the Republic of Kenya. Exactly 2 years down the line, like the 2 years we now have with the deputy president, Jaramogi decided that due to the ideologies that he was holding, which differed from the president, he decided to step down and leave the position of vice president, not for his own good, but for the greater good of the Republic of Kenya. He actually stepped down. I would like, in my own statement, to ask the deputy president that Kenya is larger than you. Kenya is a big country that we need to protect. If I were you, Mr. Deputy President, please take the honorable route that some of your predecessors had taken, like Jaramogi, and step down from this position of presidency. Don't take Kenya through the valley of the abyss the dark abyss you want Kenya to go through. Secondly, I would like to say something. I was not one of the people who was actually wanting this impeachment of the deputy president. I felt that the deputy president's impeachment was not the main problems that we were having in Kenya, and that we had other issues. But having heard how the president spoke last night, I am completely convinced from that statement that the deputy president must go, and he must go as soon as possible. One of the reasons why I say that is that we are not here for our personal grandiose and our personal wealth. Kenya, if the deputy president is mourning because his father is going to turn in his grave because of the wealth that is being accused of, I wonder what the people like Bildad Kagia, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and all those who fought for us to get through this, to get to where we are, through multi-party. Oginga Odinga and all went through house arrest, detention, to make sure that we get the multi-party that we are enjoying in this country, the democracy that we are enjoying. How are they feeling in their grave when now the deputy president is talking about making Kenya a company? What company are you talking about, and shareholders? When Kenya is a country that we have a sovereign country in Kenya. Mr. Deputy President, I was a bit on your side, but you have hanged yourself with your own rope. Whoever informed you to go to the TV yesterday did you a very big disservice. And for that, I support the motion.
Asante Bwana Spika kunipa nafasi hii. Yangu ni kidogo sana. Nikuseme eti ya kwamba tunataka naibu wa rais bila ambaye si mkabila. Kwa sababu nchi yetu ya Kenya ni kubwa sana kusinda mtu. Tukiongea mambo ya mlima, kule kwangu Tigania East, tuko katikati ya mlima. Lakini ukiangalia katika hii kitabu ambaye, ukiangalia haya mashtaka yaliyo katika kitabu hii, ukiangalia ile mashtaka katika kitabu hii, ile zile kampani zote ziko hapa ni za Gachagua, bibi yake na watoto wake. Hakuna Mutigania, hakuna Mwegembe, hakuna Muimenti, hakuna Mluya. That means yeye mwenyewe alikuwa anatetea tumbo yake. Ndipo mimi niko hapa kusema eti ya kwamba sisi atupembelezani. Sisi tunasema kwamba lazima aende nyumbani kwa sababu amekataa kuangalia mambo ya wananchi wa Kenya, na Kenya ni kubwa. Ingine ni hii. Mimi nimekaa kule East Africa Community kipindi ya miaka 5. Nilikuwa na Jematia ambaye ni nanda yangu. Katika kipindi ya miaka 5 sijawahi kusikia Jematia akiwa no malaya, lakini naibu wa rais alisimama akasema kwamba Jematia ni malaya. ya kwamba mimi nikiwa Mporo Mtabori na support naibu wa rais aende nyumbani. Asante sana. Thank you.
Women Rep Busia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support with a lot of strength this motion because many times I thought I was a tenant in Kenya. And I know I was born and raised in this nation. When a leader of a national figure discriminates openly, I left myself wondering if we can keep allowing to be divided every day, and yet as leaders, we must be a factor that unites all Kenyans. I want to ask the Deputy President, what message was he sending to Busians who voted for Honorable Maina in Marachi West, in Butlak sub-county? And what message was he sending to Busians who voted for Honorable Talam in Buhayo West, in Matayos, Busia County? We should be free from Mombasa to Turkana, any person of any race, any tribe, to stand and be elected without being pointed at as this one belonging to a particular region and that one not belonging to our region. Because Kenya is our country and we are here in this country to build it. If we don't join, because if you go as an individual, you are a drop in the ocean. But together as Kenyans, we are an ocean. So I want to ask again, what other thing a principal assistant is supposed to do? According to me, unless you have a shrunken hippocampus in your brain, then you go displaying what your master is doing instead of being the real assistant of even covering up. One day he says, I was sent all these things I was saying. I was sent all these things are saying. It's like he is wearing an oversized coat, oversized trouser, a tumbo cut vest, and oversized shoe. He does not understand his role as a principal assistant. We must unravel from the sins of our fabric in this country, because sometimes you can be wearing a dress or a trouser, but something keeps biting you. Unless you unravel or open up the seam to know what is biting you, you will continue losing blood and become anemic. So people of any nation are stronger than the people in power. All leaders in this nation must be responsible of the utterances they puke every day, because what will our future leaders be saying? I am, or who is our role model? Who is their role model? All of us must be responsible not to give hate speech anywhere we go. And I don't think there is a tribe in Kenya that is superior than others. Whether you come from Eastern in Garissa or you come from Siamahanga village where I live, you are equal. Article 27, Section 4 is clear about this, that we should not discriminate. When I hear a widow in Mount Kenya, and she's a widow, she is representing all the widows in Kenya. So Gachagua return the matrimonial property, the bank accounts, everything that you took from that widow in Nyeri. Because I was raised by a widow and I know what happens when such things happen. A widow should be given their rights, whether you have all the muscle in the nation. And thirdly, a leader who does not respect women, that one is not a leader. Calling women prostitutes. So when a woman is being a prostitute, who is the other prostitute? Then he must be the one. Because if you call me a prostitute, was I doing myself? There must be somebody in a trouser too. And we do not want to be discriminated. We have been dating, marriage, we marry Kikuyu, Luya, Teso, Kamba. That should continue happening than us growing up or children fearing to marry from Mount Kenya or fearing to marry from Nyanza. That is wrong. So Deputy President must go home. We really want him to
Yes,
just take a rest. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Muya, what's your point of order?
Speaker, I'm standing on standing order number 91 on matters of facts and substantiating what the member is speaking of. The issue of Malaya have been adversely mentioned in this House. Have you as the Speaker received anything to substantiate? Honorable Speaker, it is on record that the Deputy Speaker, the Deputy President has been crossing the whole country, campaigning for the same women, especially in Mount Kenya where he was assigned. So it is unfair that members can continue repeating, you cannot substantiate, and there is no evidence. We should
You've
have
made your
evidence.
point. Honorable members, order. Take your seat. Honorable members, I want, with your concurrence, to reduce the time of the speakers to 2 minutes. Is that agreed? Is that agreed? For the purpose of the record, I'll put the question that we reduce time for speakers from 5 minutes to 2 minutes. As many as of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Didmus, 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I want to be very clear that I support this impeachment motion. I say so because Kenya, we have more than 42 tribes. And it was never our permission to decide which tribe you belong to, Honorable Speaker. And we want every part of our country to feel part and parcel or properly represented by our Deputy President. The continued dividing of our country in shares, Honorable Speaker, in terms of how many votes that a particular area voted for the government, Mr. Speaker, it is making parts of this country feel like they're not part of this country. I think, in a nutshell, Honorable Speaker, because of time, I want to summarize what I want to say by saying that Kenya as a country, the position of the Deputy President, it requires a patriot. It requires an individual whom, when he speaks, the country listens with optimism. It doesn't require an individual who, when he opens his mouth, part of this country begins to bleed. This country doesn't require a villager in the name of the Deputy President. It requires a patriot, a statesman. And this House, Mr. Speaker, we will go down in the history of this country because the war against tribalism, the war against segregating this country along shareholding lines, it's a war that we have come a long way, Honorable Speaker. It's a war that we vowed that we must win it in installments, and today we are paying the last installment. Rigathi must go home, not by walking, but by running, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Member for Ajia West. Please, here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. First, I rise, Mr. Speaker, reluctantly but firmly in support of all the articles of this motion. Mr. Speaker, I say reluctantly because of the following reasons. Normally, Mr. Speaker, as a Muslim leader, I don't rush to support this grave matter like this to remove the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya from office after just 2 years of election. But because of the conduct, the behavior of the Deputy President of this country, Mr. Speaker, I have no option but to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I am a witness who went to the office of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya to request for assistance during the drought season, to request for relief food for the people of Wajir West. But the utterances of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya was shocking, Mr. Speaker. He told me, Mr. Speaker, and I want to confirm to this House, that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya told me you have more than your share. It was shocking. I was dejected, hopeless, and left the office in protest, Mr. Speaker. Who disrespected and discriminated against the people I represent in this House. Mr. Speaker, today, as we speak, it's a historical day. And for that reason, Mr. Speaker, for unity of this House, of the country.
Your time is up. Your time is up. Member for Tetu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You have 2
Mr.
minutes.
Speaker, from the onset, I rise to oppose this motion, to this special motion on removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, when a man is down in the spirit of Ubuntu, it is not good to crush him. On Sunday, the Deputy President at the National Prayer Altar stood and apologized profusely to his boss, to fellow Kenyans, and indeed to all the members of this House. Mr. Speaker, I feel that our party, UDA, on which the Deputy President was elected, has internal disciplinary mechanisms which have not been exhausted so as to bring this matter to this House. I also feel that in the spirit of us finishing the agenda that we promised Kenyan, this matter can wait to 2027 so that we can focus on service delivery to our people. Mr. Speaker, I will personally request the members of this House to find it in their heart to forgive the Deputy President. And I will personally.
Mr. Speaker, you have had honorable member telling this House that in UDA they had not exhausted their disciplinary mechanism. Why did he then decide to sign on the motion? Why did he sign?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. The matter of...
One day to finish up.
I did not finish.
Not exhausted. Go on, you have half a minute.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the matter of my signing, you talked about it, and the matter is rested. Wanjara can come to your office for further explanation. Mr. Speaker, I personally would like to volunteer to lead other leaders in this country, elders, bishops, to ensure that we sit down with the Deputy President so that if there are any issues that he needs to correct, if there are any issues that he needs to align, he can align so that himself can continue serving the people of this country. He has some good in himself, and that good needs to be preserved so that he can finish his work. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose. Thank you.
Umi. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the motion of impeachment because of many reasons. Mr. Speaker, as a young person and as a representative of the House for the Youth, I wonder how many young people of this country can walk into a bank and access a loan of 600 million shillings without any guarantees of any sort. Mr. Speaker, this is a representation of impunity. The Deputy President stood before the media yesterday as a national leader to defend his children. I respect that he stood to defend his children, but how many children of this country has he given a chance for them to access the same benefits? Myself included, I cannot access a loan of that amount of money. Mr. Speaker, this impeachment motion is not just an impeachment because of difference of ideology, but it will be a symbol of democracy for our country, that people who abuse their powers can go home, regardless of whatever position they hold. Mr. Speaker, I come from Garissa County. We lost residents from my county at an accident as they were accessing to cross a river because of the flood scandal. Mr. Speaker, out of the 10 billion shillings that he had under his pocket, he only gave us 48 million shillings and disappeared and never showed up again. Mr. Speaker, what can 48 million shillings do for people who are suffering? Mr. Speaker, he did not even step in Wajir and Mandera. This is a deputy president of the whole country. I support the impeachment. He must go home and create a room for other people to get to that position. Maybe it's time for other regions to be deputies so that we can get the same benefits. Mr. Speaker, I can even do a good job myself. Mr. Speaker.
Your time is up, Jen Kagiri. If you read the Constitution, you'll know that you don't qualify to be a deputy president at your age. Jen Kagiri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity